Hello, I'm Graham Hughes. The year was 1974 and Great Britain were on tour in Australia. The first test was played in Brisbane and Australia won 12 points to 6. In this presentation we bring you all the highlights of the second and third test clashes, both played in Sydney.
The Great Britain players are just being introduced to the crowd. They'll be wearing their traditional uniforms of all white with the red and blue V. Next, the Australian team to be introduced to the crowd. The Australian team in their dark green and gold jerseys with black shorts. This is the Australian team as they'll line up. There are no changes in the Australian side from the side that was advertised, but there are 3 changes from the side which took the field in the first test in Brisbane. Graham Eadie replaces Graham Langlands as fullback. Eadie playing in his first test ever at home. Gary Stevens comes into the second row replacing Ray Higgs. And Elwyn Walters has been dropped, and the Queensland hooker John Lang is the new hooker in the side. The Great Britain players have been in a lot of bother with injuries since coming onto this, or beginning this tour. This is by no means their strongest side, but with the amount of players they have remaining who are fully fit, this is the best they could muster. It appears that Great Britain have won the toss. Australia will kick off. The breeze is blowing straight across the field from virtually the bottom of the screen towards the far side of the ground, so it's not giving either side very much assistance in this first half. The test started, the kick-off from Eadie, and the long kick out goes right down towards the goal line. Back there was Millward on his own goal line, slipping under tackles and put to ground by Rhodonicus. This is Gray. Almost up to their own quarter line. Thompson immediately going straight into O'Reilly and beats it. Dixon running in to lend assistance. Keith Page is awarding a penalty against the Australian forwards, Bob O'Reilly in particular, for throwing that punch in the tackle. First penalty of the match to Great Britain on their own quarter line, and it gives us the opportunity of introducing former Australian international Jim Lyle for comments.
Thank you, Alan. Well, this test naturally starts off like all tests. Both sides feel each other out, just put a little bit of stick in here and there just to make their opponents know they're around. It just goes on for about 5 minutes, but then they'll settle down and play football.
So Great Britain now have the ball in their own half. Gray moving into dummy half. Nash. Chisnell reversing it. Gill getting his pass away, dropped by Mills. While Australian ball with Orr coming in from the wing to pick it up. And Australia in possession for the first time. Lang, O'Reilly. To Lang. Rhodonicus, quick passing, Richardson. Thrown in the centres, a long pass out to Fulton. Scrum for the knock-on just inside the Australian half, the Great Britain half.
The pass from Cronin was quite good. It was in front of Fulton. Fulton could catch it, but he just dropped off his hands, possibly a little bit of nervousness. The first 2 or 3 minutes, these fellows are edgy, and we can put that one down on nerves.
Quite a strong breeze also, Jim, that could contribute to some bad handling. Penalty for the scrum infringement against the Great Britain front row. A loose arm in there and the front row collapsing as a consequence. So the penalty to Australia, and Eadie coming up from fullback. Graham Eadie, one of the not so much shock selections, a very good player, but he was selected over former captain Graham Langlands. Eadie playing in his first test on Australian soil. Beaton.
Good to see this Englishman moving up the boots and two at a time and putting him on the ground. That's the only thing he can do with this fellow, make sure he doesn't get his pass away.
Richardson trying to beat the forwards, and he's caught there by Nichols. Lang, Stevens, very nearly bursting through that strong tackle before Chisnell held him. Lang, O'Reilly has Beatson there. Good dummy by Beatson. Lang going up the middle, up to the quarter line. Dixon, number 9, one of 4 Salford players in this side. Colin Dixon, you'll see a lot of in this match, being penalised. This is Graham Eadie, the Australian fullback, attempting the shot for penalty goal, which will bring up the first points of the match if he's successful. Eadie taking the kicking duties ahead of Mick Cronin, who is a recognised goal kicker as well. in the Great Britain side, quite a number of them are recognised goal kickers. Dave Eckersley and John Gray perhaps will share the honour today.
The wind shouldn't affect this kick much at all. It's blowing possibly right behind Eadie, a bit across the line of flight, but he should be able to aim the ball straight between the uprights.
And he's kicking from just inside the quarter line. Kicked it to the left. He allowed too much for the breeze. It's no goal. Just inside the Great Britain half. There's still no score after about 7 minutes.
Again, we see the pattern developing in the British side. They are too bunched. They're letting the ball do the work, but they haven't anybody running onto the ball. They must have somebody deep and running onto the ball.
Penalty from the scrum went to Australia. The Great Britain hooker, Gray, was flat out on his back. It's an interesting front row, this one, for Great Britain. They've got Jim Thompson, who's quite a versatile player, but more widely known as a second rower, playing as one of the props, and John Gray, also himself a utility player, coming into the side as hooker. O'Reilly, Lang, Beatson, getting it back to Coote.
It's good to see the Australians putting on these moves, keeping the opposition guessing.
Beatson. Chisnell and Thompson didn't fall for the dummy. Beatson will play it to Sate. Radonicus. Richardson. Good tackle from Gill. O'Reilly running the blind side. There he is. Thompson low, Dixon high.
It's typical of Thompson's tackling, always low, a very effective tackler.
Sate running straight into Mills. Now Radonicus signalling that he may well kick through. It's the last tackle coming up. There it is, the high kick for Fulton in the centres. Charlton waiting with Nash. Fulton almost got it. Nash dropped it. Knock-on will be played with a scrum just in front of the Great Britain posts.
There we see the danger of Radonicus again. He has done this on occasions against the Englishmen in the past, putting a lovely judge kick up just over the first line of the fence, and it makes it very hard to catch.
Australian ball, Fulton going for the line. He's close, he's there. That's a try. First points of the match, a try to Australia, scored by centre Bobby Fulton. Australia leading 3 points to nil after 9 minutes. We'll see that try in action replay with comments from Jim Lyle. Bob Fulton scoring the first points of the match.
Inexcusable on the Englishman's part. They should have seen that was a wide blind. It was just a blindside move. Throw the ball to Fulton, he just did the work.
The game's been in progress for about 9.5 minutes. Australia is leading by 3 points to nil with that try scored by Fulton. Just having a look at what's gone on so far. Only 2 scrums have been shared, 1 each. Australia leading in the penalties 3-2. Eadie attempting the conversion, kicking it out to the right, didn't allow for the breeze, no goal. Still 3 points to nil, and Eadie has missed with both of his attempts at goal so far. Great Britain in possession just inside the Australian half. About 18 minutes to go before half-time. Not much in the match so far, just the try by Fulton. Chisnell playing it. Gill. Thompson. Caught by O'Reilly. Nash. Gill. Nash. Very creative he is. That's Nichols.
It's good to see these Englishmen varying their play. Last week they sort of stood in a huddle, but now they're standing wide on occasions and bringing the ball back in.
Good kicking from Gill, but Orr leaves it for Eadie over the quarter line. Playing it to Orr. Radonicus. Beatson. Richardson. Cronin. Out to Fulton. Has Waite going outside him. Dixon across. There's Waite. He's very fast, trying to push off his winger. Dill takes him though. Play into touch, and the penalty to Australia. The Australians have been asked to be allowed to play the ball. The penalty to Australia midway between the Great Britain quarter line and halfway. And with 15 minutes to go before half-time, Australia is leading by 3 points to nil.
It just gave away territory, which is very valuable to them.
Eadie must have gained about 2 centimetres with that kick. Radonicus to O'Reilly. Radonicus getting his pass out somehow. Lang to Richardson. Here's a chance for Australia with an overlap. Cronin, and it's almost intercepted by Millward. Boy, that was close. He would have been away for sure. Great Britain in possession. Gray has it.
The dynamic footballer this little Millward is. You don't know when he's going to prop on the scene, and when he does, it's usually in a very effective manner.
Gill. Nichols caught solidly. Nash. Dixon. Nash. Long one that time. Eckersley's kick for the line. Eadie coming across on his own quarter line. Caught by Dill. Coote driving John Gray back. On halfway, playing it to Lang. Beaton. Getting it to Radonicus. Radonicus racing, looking for support. Floats it out to Cronin. Cronin has his winger there. Cronin caught into touch. Is he? He's close. He'll play it there. Or Radonicus. Australia attacking the Great Britain line. Richardson. Sate to Coote. Got it back, lost it. Eckersley playing it.
Coote standing wide there. We haven't seen a great deal of Ron Coote. He usually stands wide and runs onto the ball well, but he's been quiet up to this time in the game.
George Nichols. He'll play it on the quarter line. Hesketh. Nichols again. Cronin taking him. Gill to Dixon. Losing the ball. Knock-on will be played, and behind play, Dave Eckersley, the Great Britain centre, getting to his feet very slowly. And time off while the injured player is given attention. Ray Brannigan, number 14, is replacing Graham Eadie, who's leaving the field. Graham Eadie off the field, suffering obviously from a head injury. The scrums are favouring Australia by 3-2, and the penalties are 5-all. Another Australian scrum. Radonicus. Out to Brannigan very quickly in the move. He got it to Waite. Waite playing the ball. Sate. Radonicus. Beaton. Fulton. Not a good pass from Fulton. That was floated much too far in front of Waite.
Fulton has been very closely watched out there today. The Englishmen know the brilliance of this young fellow, and every time he gets the ball they swarm on him and make sure that he doesn't pass. If he does, his pass is hurried. It's good football by the Englishmen.
Another Australian scrum. Radonicus got it out, and Richardson. Those gaps closed very quickly with the Australians into attack. O'Reilly lost it. It was a knockback. Radonicus again. Radonicus having a very good game indeed. He'll play it to Sate. O'Reilly. Bursting onto it was Coote. Sate. O'Reilly. Cronin let it go. Picked up and over the line, but the pass went forward. With the ball being grounded by winger Orr, the pass had gone forward though.
It's an over-arm hook basketball pass by O'Reilly. It was a desperation type pass. He had the man outside him and he just couldn't get his arm free. The last moment he did, he threw the ball. Might have been better to hang on to the ball there, go to the ground, have a quick play of the ball, but that wasn't to be.
Penalty from that scrum against the front row collapsing, but referee Page is just going to have a word with John Gray, just telling him exactly what he wants, how he wants the scrums to be formed. But the penalty's already been awarded to Australia, and it's going to be Cronin now to have the shot for goal. He'll place the ball on the quarter line.
The Australian side naturally will miss Eadie because of his brilliance chiming into the back line, but they won't suffer all that much by having Brannigan included in the side. Brannigan possibly likes the fullback position better, or out of the two positions they usually play him. We sometimes centre, but he does prefer fullback.
So Cronin taking the shot for goal from the quarter line. He's a fair way out, putting it nicely into the air. It's dropping to the left of the posts. Tremendous defence with Beatson coming running in. And he grounded Charlton behind his own line. I don't think I've ever seen Arthur Beatson move quite so quickly.
That's something you wouldn't have seen from Arthur Beatson 5 or 6 years ago. Arthur had the reputation of a lazy footballer, but we just noticed in the transition how this fellow has really matured. He came through there like a wing three-quarter.
A kick into open spaces with Brannigan taking it on halfway. English forwards moving up in a straight line. It's Ken Gill, the 5'8". Coote. Playing it to Lang. Rodinicus. Richardson. C. Stevens trying to go underneath. Lang. O'Reilly. Coote getting in the way. Not good play. Fulton. Getting it out to his... Caught by Nichols across in cover defence. Cronin. Rodinicus. Sate. Beatson. Richardson. And Brannigan. Brannigan up to the quarter line.
Throwing the ball around now well, the Australians. They're using their backs well.
Rodinicus. There was no one there. Rodinicus. Lang coming in amongst the forwards. The ball was lost. Rodinicus has it. The scrum for the sixth tackle will be put down just out from the Great Britain line.
What an alert mind this Rodinicus has. He only must have 1/100 of a second or so to have a look before he passes the ball to see if there's any gaps there. And every time there is one, he takes it with the greatest of ease, straight through, a great turn of pace.
The Australian scrum moved off the mark, and so the penalty went to Great Britain near their own line. And hooker John Gray will kick for the far touch line, using the breeze with good effect, taking play almost down to halfway. About 7 minutes remaining before half-time. Australia leading 3 points to 0 with just the single try scored by Fulton. Mills. To Nash. Gray. He lost it. Nash trying to pick it up. And that definitely was a knock-on that will have to be played with another scrum. Scrum almost on halfway, served by Rodinicus, and a Great Britain ball. Gill getting it out. Charlton came in from fullback, but Hesketh has it himself. He'll play it to halfback Steve Nash. Nichols to Chisnell, got it out to Gill and Dixon.
That's better football by the Englishman. Playing it wide and having these big second rowers coming on the burst at the centres.
Gill turning it inside to Nichols. Nichols in the clear almost, has support. Got it to Nash, over the quarter line to Chisnell. Chisnell going for the line, and the second rower will score for England. Second row forward, Eric Chisnell looking very pleased with his efforts, and he's levelled the scores.
What great football by the Englishmen. They've been turning the ball a lot better today. They've been changing the point of attack, and that's what they must do. They hold the ball in for a couple of occasions. They throw it wide. When they throw it wide, the Australian opposition comes in, and therefore they've shown the gap. It's good football by the Englishmen.
Try scored by Chisnell right under the posts. Gray attempting the conversion from right in front. He's got it, and Great Britain are in front by 5 points to 3. That's the score with about 5 minutes to go before half-time. Great Britain in front for the first time.
The English forwards now look like they are starting to click. We've been pretty critical of the English pack. Always their strong point. On this tour they haven't to date. They haven't shown what they can do. That move just showed what they could do. They changed the point of attack and they had a fellow running onto the ball, which is what the name of the game is.
Millward running play up again. Now the Australian forwards will be intent on keeping Great Britain confined to their own territory so that they'll have a chance of getting more points before half-time. Thompson will play it to Gray. Nichols. Straight in ball, Stevens has it. To Lang, Rodinicus, Richardson. Dixon throwing him to ground. Lang, O'Reilly, no, Rodinicus. Long pass to Cronin. Good tackle from Thompson though. Rodinicus. Safe picked that up well. Jim Mills, the tackler. Out to Beatson now. Has Coote running wide. Last tackle is coming up. Rodinicus calling for it. It goes to Fulton instead. High kick in the air. Rodinicus chasing it through. Going back for it is Millward with Nash. Nash is very safe. Rodinicus misses him with Fulton.
It's a great catch by Nash. Back over his shoulder. Difficult catch, but he took it well.
Penalty against Cronin. Going to Great Britain. Second kick to be taken just out from the quarter line by halfback Nash. Gill. It's Nichols. Gray. Charlton to Gill, and the Australians caught offside. Gary Stevens, the second rower, was standing too close in defence. Gray to gain further ground for his side. Not a good kick though. So Gray has it on halfway. Gill, Mills. Good ball and all tackle by Beatson. To Nash. Thompson. Gray. Putting it to Chisnell up the middle. Chisnell turns it to Hesketh. Hesketh away, and Dixon will score for Great Britain. Good play. And the Englishman looking very jubilant. Colin Dixon scoring the try.
It was a really great try. They settled the play down on a couple of occasions. They had a forward taking it, one out. Then they put a move on it. You just see that move, how well it was executed, and the team did the rest, just backing up all the time, and Dixon finishing off it.
So Great Britain have a lead of 8 points to 3, and that lead should be further increased after this kick. Gray has already landed one conversion from a similar position, and this kick should make it 10-3. He's got them. They're the extra points. And a good lead to Great Britain.
The breeze can be an advantage of Great Britain, but they also will have to contend with the sun. The sun's right in their eyes, and Rodinicus puts a couple of little kicks up. It could make all the difference.
So that's the half-time siren going, with Great Britain holding a lead of 10 points to 3. For Great Britain, try scored by Chisnall and Dixon, and Gray has kicked 2 goals from 2 attempts. Millward has missed with 2 attempts. For Australia, a try scored by Fulton. Eadie has missed with 2 attempts at goal, and Cronin with 1. And there are no changes in the second half in either side. The kick-off goes straight to Brannigan. The Australian fullback will take play up to the quarter line. Lang is dummy half. O'Reilly. Australian coach Graham Langlands will probably be expecting a little bit more from O'Reilly in the second half. Beatson.
O'Reilly has been quiet, but we have known that during the week he has a painful groin injury, and it looks like he could be carrying this a little. He's not stretching out as we know Bob O'Reilly can, and this that naturally is affecting his play.
Scrum is just away from the Australian goal line, and Great Britain are attacking using players coming onto the ball. Hesketh has it. The Great Britain player playing it. Nichols, hard running lock forward, got it to Gill, he lost it, towed through. Fulton back there. Knock on will be played first though, with Millward looking to dive on the ball.
These Englishmen are standing players out wide, and they're finding gaps in the Australian defence now.
And winning some ball with a good play. Gill going under, he'll score. A good try scored by the Great Britain 5'8", Ken Gill. Great Britain leading 13-3.
What a great try by the English halves. Just a matter of picking the ball up and skirting straight across the field, not worrying about making any advantage up the field, straight across the field, flow the flick, and Gill was perfectly positioned to take the ball.
Well, there was a certain amount of comment expressed in Sydney when the Great Britain selectors announced that Roger Millward, who played in the first test in Brisbane, would not be the side's 5'8" in this second test. They thought that leaving out the brilliant Millward would have some type of effect on the Great Britain side, but Ken Gill has certainly lived up to it. Gray right in front, and the other 2 points are added.
Ken Gill was included because he's known as a team man. He helps the men outside him, and that's quite evident today. He's doing just that.
Great Britain in possession in their own half. Gray is dummy half. Mills turning it back inside. Dixon, and it's away to Nash. Gill couldn't take it. Must be a knock on to both sides there. Good raking back in the second row by Dixon to win that ball for Great Britain. Millward caught by Coote.
Yes, the English hooker didn't even have his head in, and he just hooked without even seeing the ball.
Nichols caught by his opposite number Coote after Radonicus had taken him low. Will play it to Nash. Chisnall. Charlton came in from fullback. Haven't seen a great deal of him in the game yet. Chisnall. Eckersley to Thompson. Charlton. Eckersley dummy half. Waite back covering at that time. And Australia in possession on halfway. Fulton dummy half. Stevens. Lang had no support up the middle. O'Reilly to Beatson. Long one to Fulton. Has Hesketh the beat. Hesketh going across. Or
bad play by Hesketh. Hesketh waited for Fulton and even backtracked a little bit. He must go into this player quickly.
Radonicus, Beatson, Sate. Australia attacking. Sate, here's a chance. Long passing, it's out to Coote. Coote going and caught with a player outside. Waite was calling for the ball. One tackle to go. Brannigan, Beatson. A kick that went nowhere. Dixon for Great Britain. Gray. on the quarter line. Nichols. To Gill. Mills. Both sides knocking on. After 9 minutes of the second half, Great Britain leading 15-3. Great Britain ball. The referee Page wants the scrum put down again on the Great Britain quarter line. Straight in scrum. Fulton. Quick passing to Brannigan. Radonicus. Fulton. Working the blind side.
They're giving Fulton a little bit more room to move now. This is dangerous. They must close up on him.
O'Reilly very nearly lost the ball as he took it. Australia only 10 metres out from the Great Britain line. Charlton fouled by that headbutt by O'Reilly. We'll have a look at that again in action replay. I doubt that Charlton felt the full effect of as well as he's displaying now, but certainly it was there. And we'll see how O'Reilly, held in the tackle by Charlton, resented being held.
There might have been a little bit of acting there, but it proved worthwhile because the penalty was given. I don't think the headbutt was all that vicious, just more or less an exchange of words and a couple of nods, but Charlton played out the role very well. Oh no, it wasn't too bad. It was definitely a headbutt.
And the Australians are making another replacement. Bob McCarthy, number 15, coming out onto the ground. No player has yet left the field, but Bob McCarthy waiting to come on. Graham Langlands making his replacements quite early in the game. Does not appear as though any Australian forward is injured. It's just perhaps that Langlands is dissatisfied with the way that one of the forwards is performing. But Great Britain attacking up over halfway is Nash. Playing it now to Charlton. Gill. Dixon. Down the middle goes the second rower, Coote across. Good play to Gill. Here's another try. Eckersley going for the line. Fulton gets him. Fulton just claiming him. Eckersley's lost his boot as he plays it to Hesketh. The Great Britain captain caught. Now Nash, the halfback, dummy half. He's dangerous from there. Great Britain reversing it. Gray, shot for field goal from right in front. A good kick. Beautiful kick indeed.
Notice Colin Dixon back in the middle of the field is hurt. This will be very unfortunate for the Englishman.
And we'll see how Gray very neatly puts this over. Quite a neat drop kick to add the extra point. 16 points to 3 the score. And now back on the field in live action. The Australians have replaced Bob O'Reilly, leaving the field with Bob McCarthy. Shallow kick this time. Dixon looking into the sun, knocking it back. Dangerous play, but effective. It came off.
Very skillful ball handlers, Englishmen, doing things like that. It is dangerous, but they are so good with the ball they can afford to do it.
So Great Britain are playing right over the top of Australia, leading 16-3. About 28 minutes to go. Nash's dummy half. Great Britain in possession out from their own quarter line. Thompson. O'Reilly into the action immediately. Nash up the blind side, beats and taking him. Dixon. Thompson, quick passing. Nichols. Hesketh. Gray. Slipping the ball to Nichols again. Lang has it for Australia, but he was offside.
It's no good by the Australian defence. They are starting to come up in ones and twos. Once they do that, the straight line is disrupted. There's gaps in the straight line. The Englishmen are just dodging behind the gaps and putting the ball to a man on the run. Australia must keep this line straight.
Ray taking the free kick on halfway. Good one too. Winger Les Dill coming up to take the second kick on the far side. Nichols.
Here we see the settling down pattern again. 1 or 2 settle down, then we'll see a move put on by these tourists.
Chisnall. Dixon. Ray. Mills. Eckersley. Ray. As Nichols going up outside, McCarthy chasing the ball through.
Arthur Beetson must instruct his men to hit the man and put the man on the ground, irrespective if he's just passed the ball or not. As long as he's just passed the ball, put him on the ground, put him out of the movement. They're not doing this, and therefore the players are staying in the movement all the time. They're just changing the point of attack from standing on their feet. Beetson does this, so he should know that the idea is for the other side to put them on the ground too.
Beetson caught here. Great Britain doing a very good job of putting him to ground. Fulton on the blind side. To Brannigan, a good floating pass. Too fast for Mills. Not for Nichols. Yes, he is. Brannigan playing well. To Waite. Fulton. Coote. Lang. McCarthy.
Now the Australian side are playing with more purpose.
There's only one tackle to go though. Rodonicus has moved to dummy half for a short kick. Virtually going backwards. Rodonicus retrieving possession to at least ensure a scrum rather than immediately giving away possession to Great Britain. The official attendance just coming through, 48,000. 48,000, a very good crowd indeed. Great Britain on their own quarter line. Dixon. Nash. It's Mills, caught by McCarthy. Nash. Gill. Nash. Eckersley. Gill. Chisnall. Gray. Dixon, not expecting it. Richardson for a straight out. Again, he was offside though. Taking the ball in an offside position.
The Englishmen are just out-thinking the Australian combination at this moment. They're passing the ball, sometimes they're standing still, but that does not mean that they're not doing something with the ball. It's best if they have a fellow deep running onto it, but they pass it back and forward a couple of times, a couple of fellows standing still, but then they have a fellow on the burst, and this is good football, and this is just sort of at the moment catching the Australians at 6s and 7s. They are waiting for the man to do something with the ball instead of getting up there and hitting him.
Thompson. Gray. Chisnall. Great Britain almost on halfway, playing it to Hesketh. Nash, no, Gill it is to Dixon. He's a hard man to put to ground. Nash, Chisnall. Nichols caught well. Rodonicus going low.
Australians must get outside the men and come in on them, put the umbrella around them, make them go up the middle, but they're not.
Thompson. Gill. Millward caught by Richardson for the 6th tackle and a scrum inside the Australian half. Great Britain leading 16 points to 3 with 13 minutes to go, but it's been some time since we've seen points scored. Australian ball. Out to Fulton. Over halfway to Waite. Caught out there by Dill. Coote. McCarthy.
Definitely Australian strength seems to lie in their three quarters today. Every time they throw the ball out, they look dangerous.
Rodonicus taking play almost to the Great Britain quarter line. McCarthy. Rodonicus and Lang. I wonder whether or not we'll see another short kick here from Rodonicus or either Fulton. Fulton, a high one for Brannigan and Coote. Coote got it back. Great Britain stole it though. Eckersley playing it. Gill caught by Beatson.
Australia should be putting this kick up more often because the Englishman looking straight into that sun. It's very hard feeling a high kick coming down into that sun.
Nichols to play it. Nash. Dixon. On the quarter line to Nash. Mills. Australia getting the ball in the tackle. Sate will play it for Australia. Rodonicus. Beatson. It's McCarthy. Stevens. This Great Britain defence haven't given up on their job. They're coming through very quickly. To Lang. McCarthy. Richardson. Cronin. Or McCarthy. Rodonicus. Beatson. Caught high by Gray. Lang caught now.
They're looking after Beatson really well today. He must be frustrated out there. He can't play his usual game.
Sate. One tackle to go. Rodonicus now signalling for a kick in the air. There it is. That's a better one from him this time. Anybody's ball in this position. Knock on will be played with another scrum close to the Great Britain line.
That's a must there by the Australian team, irrespective whether it's the last tackle or the second or third. They can't afford now to wait and try and bash this English defence because the defence is too good. So they must vary their play, and one variation is to put this ball in the air.
Well, I wonder now whether we'll see a tap kick taken by the Australians. 2 points from the goal is of absolutely no use to them. McCarthy, I think, will take this tap kick close to the Great Britain line. McCarthy, he's very close. Lang is dummy half. He's under and grounding the ball, and he scored a try for Australia. Johnny Lang, the smallest forward on the field. Australia have been trying for some time to score that try, and it took the smallest forward to score it.
Always dangerous round from the dummy half position. Lang always has a quick look. If there's a gap there, he takes it. It wasn't a glamorous try, it was just a barge try, but 4 points to him because he just put his head down, went over, and as Alan said, a small man, and he got through the gap.
16 points to 6 makes the score a little bit more respectable as far as Australia is concerned. Mick Cronin is going to attempt to make it even more so with the attempted conversion placed to the left of the posts. Breeze still blowing across field. Not an easy kick despite the fact that he's in close proximity to the posts. And he's missed it. Very disappointed Mick Cronin. Also an Australian team with Great Britain holding a very good lead with about 9 minutes to go, 16 points to 6. The scrums are favouring Australia by 11 to 9. The penalties are favouring Great Britain by 12 to 9. Great Britain has scored 3 tries to Australia's 2. It's
Be a rather stirring last 10 minutes. Australia must get those points on the board, but Great Britain naturally will make sure they don't get down there to do it.
That came off as though it was almost thought out. Gray taking the ball from the rebound, and England are in possession. Charlton moving the ball quickly. This is Eckersley. To Dixon. Nichols. Dixon. Down the middle he goes and gets it to Millwood.
It's no good. The Australians aren't putting these players on the ground. They can't afford it.
Out to Chisnell now. Mills. Still getting it back to Charlton, and he was swamped by McCarthy. Hesketh. Chisnell. Short kick that he'll tow through again. Coote is back there.
Very clever play. Put the ball on a toe, rugby union fashion, towing it through. And
Cronin up to his own quarter line. Great Britain realise that if they can contain Australia here now, they've won this match. Beatson dropping it. Great Britain have it with Gray. And what a match John Gray has had after going off the field and receiving attention for an injury. He's played a blinder. Nichols. Gray. That's Gill. Dixon. Nash lost possession. Coote has it for Australia. John Gray has dislocated his finger. Play goes on with Australia in possession through Waite. McCarthy. Over halfway. No support there for him though. Lang. Coote. Radonicus. Fulton. Cronin. Out to Brannigan in the back. To Orr. Orr for the corner. Covered a fence across. And while the penalty goes to to Australia, Great Britain have made a change. John Gray is leaving the field. Gray has got a dislocated finger as he's leaving the ground. You can see the finger there. Quite a nasty one indeed. And he's been replaced by Steve Norton.
best idea John Gray could have now is to get somebody to grab hold of that finger and put it straight back while it's hot.
So the penalty to Australia. Last time they were in this position they scored a try. Great Britain making a replacement. Steve Norton on for John Gray. Beatson trying to use his weight close to the line, but the Great Britain defence is equal to the task. Coote. Sake to Richardson. Long one to Fulton. Fulton getting around his man. Cronin.
Good thinking by Richardson, cutting a man out so Cronin can come round and support.
Sate and Stevens. Caught by Mills. Beatson downfield. Got it to Coote. Here's a chance. Coote will score for Australia. Great Britain just wilting slightly with that prolonged attack, and Australia adding the points. We'll see the try again in action replay.
There we saw Australia playing the Great Britain game. They kept the ball alive and they weren't grounded with the ball. They changed the point of attack. The Great Britain side were a little bit lax coming up in defence, and they didn't put the man on the ground like they have been doing, and this enabled Beatson to work his magic and Coote to finish off.
16 points to 9, and we've got the attempted conversion to come now from Mick Cronin. You saw him miss with a much easier attempt at the last conversion, taking the kick from quite a wide angle out now and beyond the quarter line. It's not an easy one, kicking against the breeze, and Australia must get these 2 points to have any chance at all of taking this match away from Great Britain. Long, better looking kick, and he's got it. And that is, in fact, the first goal scored by Australia in this match. Cronin scoring the goal, 1 goal from 3 attempts, and it's 16 points to 11. What a task. Now, referee Keith Page has called time off. Only 3 minutes remaining in this match, and the Great Britain players were walking back very slowly. Referee Page called time off. Time on again now, 3 minutes from now to go.
What a sterling finish this promises to be. 3 minutes to go. A converted try would put Australia, would draw the game for Australia, and hence they would win the Ashes. But the English side have other ideas.
Brannigan playing it on his quarter line. Australia must attack. Great Britain must defend grimly. Lang. Stevens. Rodinicus. Beatson. Richardson. Not a good pass. He found Waite though. Waite using his speed. Almost getting away from his man, but Dill puts him to ground. Resolutely so, too. Rodinicus, the crowd on its feet now, cheering Australia on as the pass goes to Fulton. He's got Cronin going with him. Gets it back. Almost intercepted. It was a timely intercept by Ken Gill.
What a let off for the Englishmen. They needed that ball there and they got it.
The ball lost. McCarthy for Australia. Stevens, Rodinicus, Beatson, has Coote there. It's to Richardson though. Richardson's short kick. He won't get it back, I don't think. Nash is there. Great Britain captain Chris Hesketh to settle things down. He's dummy half. Take it and run himself. Dill.
They'll do this now, the Englishmen. They must hang on to this ball, even as 1 out, 1 out.
Dixon. Ball lost. McCarthy reefing it away from him, but the tackle count will start again. About 60 seconds to go. Great Britain in possession. Norton. McCarthy after him. Nichols. Well, Great Britain had been written off on this tour, but that's a dangerous thing to do. They've come back well in this game. Dixon. Upfield over the quarter line. Dixon playing the ball. Gill. One tackle to go for Great Britain. 30 seconds to go for Australia. Scrum for the 6th tackle was ordered before referee Page saw the offside infringement, but he'd already ordered the scrum, so it will be set. The last scrum of the match, perhaps. Won by Australia. Penalty to Great Britain. Incorrect feeding of the scrum.
That's the ball game now. Great Britain will kick the ball down 30 or 40 metres, get the free kick afterwards, and then just settle the game down. They should see out the time. It was unfortunate there that Australia gave that penalty away, but the more fortunate for England.
Siren to go at any moment. High kick put into the air by Eckersley. Second kick with the full-time siren sounding will be taken 12 metres inside the half. Great Britain have won the match. And a great victory to Great Britain after leading by 10 points to 3 at half-time. Great Britain have kept the series alive. For Great Britain, tries were scored by Chisnell, Dixon and Gill, and Gray kicked 3 goals and a field goal. For Australia, also 3 tries, scored by Fulton, Lang and Coote, and Cronin kicked only 1 goal. The scrums favoured Australia by 11-9, the penalties favoured Great Britain by 13-10, and so after Australia had won the first test in Brisbane by 12 points to 6, Great Britain keeps the series alive, winning the second test at the Sydney Cricket Ground by 16 points to 11. The Great Britain side, Maurice Richards is in on the wing in place of David Redfern, with Les Dill in the centre taking the place of Dave Eckersley, who played in the second test here in Sydney. Also new to the forwards, Terry Clausen has come back from injury to take his place in the front row. Now the Australian team, while we're looking at the Great Britain players, contains
7 new players from the side that was originally named for the second test. Graham Langlands returns at fullback. Lionel Williamson and Ray Brannigan are the new first-choice wingers. Tim Pickup in preference to Jeff Richardson at 5'8". In the second row, Bob McCarthy, who was a reserve in the second test. John O'Neill and Ron Turner, 2 new players in the front row for the series, although they've both had a wealth of experience. The referee, Keith Page, who also controlled the match the second test 2 weeks ago. Langlands kicking off, putting a long kick down towards Charlton, but it won't reach him. In the in-goal area, Great Britain bringing the ball up to their own quarter line. Nash now to Clausen. Playing it to Nash, who moves into dummy half. Thompson up to Stevens, taking him low. Assistance from O'Neill, who went high. Nash. High kick in the air. Very long kick indeed. Langlands going back to his own goal line, quarter line, taking the ball. And the Great Britain defence got down there very quickly. Clausen taking him. The Australians running back on the side. The breeze has swung around a little bit, would be favouring Great Britain in this first half, with Australia to run the ball out from their own goal line. Turner is dummy half for Australia. Rodinicus, Beatson. Beatson was running onto the ball when he took that. Rodinicus kicking for the line, but it won't find it. Chisnell caught well, he'll have to play it there. Thompson now, caught by Turner. To Nash, and Clausen. Beatson and O'Neill putting him to ground. There really are some big men in these 2 front rows. Gill, long pass out to Dill. To Dixon, Thompson, Nash, Chisnell. Getting it back nicely. Good play. Dill getting around Stevens, caught by Pickup. Great Britain starting to look good. Nash, Clausen taking the first pass. And a good run by the big prop forward. The ball loose though. Langlands for Australia, caught by Nichols. The Australian players rushing to their captain's aid, but Langlands caught 12 metres from his own goal line. Rodinicus to McCarthy. This has been a very fast game, very few stoppages so far. Turner from dummy half, he likes to run from there and pays the penalty by being caught by Dixon. McCarthy, Rodinicus. McCarthy, Beatson. Fulton. Fulton upfield. Fulton over halfway. Fulton has Charlton to beat. Charlton running him across field. Fulton can't beat them all, but he's trying. Getting it out to winger Brannigan. And Brannigan put down, 12 metres out, 1 tackle to go. Rodinicus out to Beatson, keeping the ball alive to Williamson. Langlands is with him. Langlands going for the far line. Chisnell across, getting it to Williamson, who scores. First try of the match. And when the ball is moved that quickly, it's very hard to stop a try. Lionel Williamson, the old veteran, returns to the Australian side to score the first points. It's 3-0.
What a brilliant play. First we saw the brilliance of Fulton. He just broke the defence and strongly kicked through. And in the ensuing play, Langlands received the ball. He elected to go wide, drag the defence with him. There were 2 English players there who went wide. And the Williamson, always in position, lurked inside, got a wonderful inside pass and finished off the business.
Gray, Clausen, Chisnell, long pass out towards the centres. Hesketh coming back in field. Charlton up from fullback. Good switching of play by Great Britain. Charlton away. Charlton to Hesketh. Hesketh accelerating. Williamson across to drag him down. Gray. But still it is. He'll score. First try to Great Britain. John Gray taking the intended conversion. He's got it to put Great Britain in front for the first time. 5 points to 3 after 9 minutes of play in the first half.
At the beginning of this game, the situation looked like being reversed in the second test. The Australians were moving up and knocking the Englishmen over, and they weren't allowed to move. As in the second test, the Englishmen were doing what they liked, but now the game has developed. The Englishmen are starting to break the middle, and Australia are not moving up. They must plug this gap in the middle because the Englishmen are looking dangerous at this moment.
It was a good kick by Langlands to find touch. Australia attacking, and look at this run with O'Neill getting almost through. Turner, Beatson, Raudonikis. He was caught. Good defence by Chisnell. Raudonikis apparently lost the ball, so the scrum for the knock-on will have to go down just out from the Great Britain line.
The value of O'Neill is showing out in this game. He is standing and running wide at the inside backs or the side of the ruck, and he's proving havoc there.
Nash will play it. Nichols. Stevens putting him to ground. Gill, Clausen. Hesketh. Caught by Raudonikis. To Nash. Clausen. Gill. Pass went nowhere. A chance for Australia. McCarthy looking for it. Offside. Gray came from an offside position to touch the ball. Penalty awarded to Australia almost straight in front of the Great Britain posts, and the kick should level the scores.
The ever-alert McCarthy was seeing it again. Any time the ball goes to the ground, McCarthy seems to have the uncanny knack of being on the spot. That time he was hindered in chasing the ball, and the Great Britain players were penalised. Possibly this is not a bad idea to do. If a 5-pointer looks like staring in the face, well, you have to try something, even if it means grabbing the fellow's shirt. And they did this. They took the gamble, but they are now paying the penalty.
Langlands from right in front, and he levels the scores. After 22 minutes of play, it's Australia 5, Great Britain 5. Cronin's restart of play goes deep. Devon coming across in front of Charlton. It's a strong runner, looking to unload the ball, but he was put to ground by Turner. Playing it to Nash.
There's a definite gap developing up the middle. As I've said before, Australia must watch this. They can't afford to let the fellows going through that gap because they have to turn and chase, and that is not good for their side.
Charlton. Nash, Clausen. Gill got a well-timed pass away, but it was intercepted by McCarthy. McCarthy racing for the line. He's going to be too fast. He's a specialist at that, and it's played off again. A try that came out of the blue with an intercept to Bob McCarthy. Australia 8-7 with a little over 15 minutes to go. We'll see the action replay with comments from Jim Lyle.
Well, there it is, the brilliance of Bob McCarthy. He has done this before. For all of the viewers, Sydney viewers, remember in the 1967 grand final, he plucked the ball out of the air, ran 70 metres to score a try and virtually won the grand final. There he was again. He has that knack to just wait back long enough, and as the pass is thrown, he's on it as quick as flash, and he has a great turn of speed for a second row. This are very powerful legs. And he just pulled the ball out of the air and did the rest.
And we come back to live action with Graham Langlands having attempted and kicked the goal. Australia further ahead, 10 points to 7 now. Clausen a hard man to stop, and he's caught with O'Neill moving in and immediately being involved in the action. And you saw what happened with Terry Clausen being called upon to play the ball, and O'Neill moved in to put him to ground.
Well, this had to come. John O'Neill is a little bit fiery. Sometimes he tends to go over the odds a little bit, but he's out there to do a job to contain these forwards. He's been containing them well, but they both took a dislike to what happened in the ensuing punch-up. It wasn't all that bad, but it was very disastrous for Australia. They can't afford to give away penalties, because England are down there now. irrespective of whether they take a shot for goal, which they are doing, so it could be another 2 points.
And John Gray going to take this kick. He's kicked 2 goals so far for Great Britain. John Gray attempting the penalty kick. He's almost at halfway, and what a beautiful kick. It's long and high, and it's there. A great kick from Johnny Gray. 10 points to 9 the score. With about 4 minutes to go before half-time. Nichols. Beatson taking him, assisted there by Stevens, who went low. Beatson taking all the time in the world to get off the man. Clausen will kick. No, he won't. Nichols, Nash. It's Gray, caught by Fulton. John O'Neill to be spoken to for that one. We may have a look at that in action replay. We didn't see whether or not that connected or not, but the intention was there. That was quite evident. And you'll notice with the man being held up, Gray being held up in the tackle by Fulton, O'Neill came in to lend assistance, and it just, there it is. Penalty to Great Britain, and a chance for John Gray to put Great Britain in front once again. With 2 minutes before half-time, Gray attempting the kick, another good high one, another beautiful kick, and Great Britain in front again. John Gray kicks another goal. 4 goals to John Gray. Great Britain 11, Australia 10. Restart is taken by Cronin. Nichols got away from Beatson. Driving tackle. Bevan driven into the ground by Beatson. Wasn't really dumped though as he held on to the man. Thompson. Hesketh. O'Neill lending assistance in the tackle of McCarthy.
This is what John O'Neill would be advised to do now. Get stuck into the hard stuff, put the man on the ground, ball and all, not worry about any loose arms and all the rest of it. He's a good enough footballer to do this.
And it paid off with Australia getting the ball and pick up, trying to run away around Ken Gill. Time is running out before half-time if Australia are going to score. Gradonikis tried to go between the two men and had no chance. McCarthy, O'Neill, away from Clausen. O'Neill still going. Fulton dropped it. Great Britain's ball. Nash caught by Turner and pick up. Thompson. It's Nichols. Dixon. Caught by Cronin. Nash taken by Turner and Cronin. The half-time siren is due at any moment. Gray. Another high kick. The forwards chasing it up. Brannigan running in to help Langlands. He might have to take it himself. Lost it. Here's a try. Is it a try? It is. Maurice Richards scoring the try for Great Britain on the right wing after a good kick from John Gray. And Great Britain will go in half-time with a very good lead indeed. Gray putting it well into the air, and it's a 6-point lead at half-time. What a magnificent kick he's turned in today. No changes in either side, with the kick-off taken by Gray, a long kick that's going down to Langlands, safe as ever. Running play up and putting it onto his boot for the far touch line. The ball running for touch. It might find it. It does. It's a great kick from Langlands, putting Australia first under the attack. As soon as the second half started, what a magnificent kick by Graham Langlands, who before today had scored 91 points in test matches and needs only another 5 points today to make it 100.
What Langlands said, what the Englishman can do in the first half, I can do in the second half. He got the ball and put it straight back down in their half, and he said, we'll play the game now. And that's what they're going to do.
And Langlands has got the penalty. He's going to take a shot for goal. Langlands from a fair distance out. Putting it high into the air. It might fall short. It does, under the crossbar. Charlton to run it out now for Great Britain. Thompson, dummy half. Nash, Clausen, Dixon, Thompson, to Nash. It's Gray, wasn't expecting it, but he reacted quite quickly. Well taken. Driving tackle, good tackle by Hesketh. Penalty against Great Britain. It was Clausen this time.
We shouldn't be giving away penalties because it is terribly important to keep Australia pinned in their own half. It's quite obvious that Graham Langlands had noted all the Britain tactics in the first half, because as soon as he fielded the kick-off, he put Australia back in a very strong position by putting the ball straight back into touch.
Australian hooker Ron Turner playing the ball short of the English or the Great Britain quarter line. Rodonicus, Stevens, lost the ball though. Nash, caught by Turner.
It's quite obvious to see this value of Clausen. He missed out the second test, but he's making his presence felt the other day with standing up and passing the ball back, changing the point of attack. He's a very valuable ball handler.
Gill, Clausen, Dixon, Hesketh, dummy half. Chisnell found Gill, reversing it. Clausen, Nash, saw the gap up the middle, got away from Turner and Stevens. Here's Dill now over halfway. Great Britain attacking. Dill caught by Williamson from the wing.
Good football by Great Britain. They're now starting to string their passes together. Nash making a wonderful break. And we now revert back to John Gray's up and under.
Langland's waiting for it. Taking it beautifully, but Gray caught him. That was good football by both players. Pick up short of the quarter line. Rodonicus, Beatson. Turner. Rodonicus. Caught by Chisnell. O'Neill dummy half. Turner. Ball lost, and the scrum will go down midway between the Australian quarter line and halfway. That time the Great Britain scrum screwed right around to move off the mark, and the penalty went to Australia. The Australian side has received 3 penalties to none so far in the second half. Penalty count is Australia 10. Great Britain 6. Scrums are level at 3-all. Good kick from Langlands, a beautiful kick indeed, right down to the quarter line. Brannigan. The Australian crowd now sensing an opportunity for the Australian team to score. Turner, O'Neill, Beatson. Coote was wide. Coote to the corner, Charlton to beat Langlands. Langlands scores for Australia. And what a captain's try. It very nearly came unstuck with that pass that Arthur Beatson grasped at 3 times. He made it, and we'll see it.
Well, it was a little bit lucky because O'Neill virtually ran across the field and handed it to Beatson, but Beatson miraculously held it. But Coote, who plays his blindside football so well, did the rest, and Langlands, the brilliant Langlands, was there.
And he couldn't get a more difficult kick than this. Right out on the touchline and the quarter line. It's going to be a very hard kick indeed, as indicated by the direction of that flag blowing behind him. Even if Langlands was still to kick this goal, they'd be trailing by 1 point. What an exciting finish we're in for, nevertheless, with something of the order of 32 minutes to go. Putting it into the air, it's to the left of the post, and he's missed it. scrum just out from the Great Britain line. 16 points to 13 is the score after 12 minutes of the second half. Penalty to Australia. Front row collapsing once again. Now let's keep in mind Graham Langlands after 100 points in Test football. And he's got it. He's there. And Graham Langlands being congratulated by his teammates and applauded by this large crowd. What a great achievement in a career that's lasted 11 years now. 100 points in Test football. Tremendous piece of work. And a great take by Langlands too.
Graham Langlands now would only have one ambition left, I feel, to win this game today. I'm sure the Englishman will make sure that he does not achieve that ambition.
And that last round of applause you heard was for the announcement of Graham Langlands' achievement of 100 points in Test matches between Australia and Great Britain. Fulton put to ground by Dixon. Getting to his feet slowly, Australia in possession in their own half. Verdonicus working play, but he's put to ground. McCarthy a long pass to Brannigan, getting around Dill. Put to ground by Richards though. Playing it to Coote. Fulton. High up and under that time. That'll put pressure on the defence. There's no one following it through though, and well taken, Charlton. 25 minutes to go. Hesketh getting away and finds Dill. Great Britain still keeping the ball moving. Dixon has it. Long pass. This is Gill. Great Britain on their own quarter line. Thompson is a dummy half. Clausen. Stevens takes him, but there's Nichols backing up, and Nichols was offside. Well, that must have been very close. It must have been very close indeed. Langlands has the kick that will once again put Australia in front if successful. It's an easier kick than his last one. Langlands kicking from beyond the quarter line. He's got it. Australia in front again.
Another good kick by Langlands, which now puts Britain in deficit for the first time since the first half. It'll be interesting to see exactly now how we set ourselves back into this game, because I'm sure that we can still win and win well.
Langlands dummying the kick to try and elude the defence, but he wasn't very successful, and now he's coming in for a little measure of punishment for scoring those points. Coote.
As far as this crowd is concerned, everything Graham Langlands does now is perfect. He can't do a thing wrong.
O'Neill with a good run up the blind side. To Brannigan. McCarthy. Bursting through that defence until he was held by Clausen. Verdonicus. One tackle to go. Fulton calling for it behind play. There he is. Didn't get time to kick. He'll have to run it. Away from Dixon. Fulton looking for support. There's Cronin. Cronin over the quarter line to Coote. Coote going for the corner and he's in. He's there. And what an incredible try that when you think about it, Bob Fulton was originally receiving the ball to kick and didn't get time to. Jim Lyle.
What a great try by the Australian side. We must remember that they were helped a little bit by the Englishman. Fulton fainted. He was going to kick and the Englishman stood off him. They should have put him on the ground, but they didn't, and that's when the trouble started. Fulton noticed the gap. He went straight through it. This fellow has all the power in the world. He does not seem all that fast, but once he accelerates, he really goes. Cronin intelligently looked inside, went inside, and Coote, always on the look, took the ball and scored.
Langlands attempting the conversion from the quarter line. It looks there. It is there. And look at the grin on Graham Langlands' face as he ran back.
David, the British side are panicking a little bit.
I think they are, yes. I think the defensive pattern of our side has changed rather drastically in the second half, and we haven't been as keen to come up and take them.
Hesketh. That's Charlton from fullback, getting it out towards the far wing. That's Richard dumped to the ground. Nichols. Gill. Chosnall. That's Clausen. Hesketh moving the ball quickly. It went to Charlton. Great Britain will be close to scoring here. Nash. Held by Rodinicus and O'Neill. Dixon. Chisnall. It's Nichols. That was a good tackle from Rodinicus. One tackle to go. Dixon running through. Scrum for the sixth tackle will be put down just outside the Australian line, right in front of the posts.
There's no doubt about it. The Australian defence at this moment is much stronger than any period in the second test, and quite honestly at the moment they are knocking down the British players quite frequently.
Australian ball. Coote. Ron Coote struggling. And while Coote is on the ground, the replacement back, Roger Millwood for Great Britain, is on the touchline waiting to come onto the field. Scrum will go down because the ball was reeked loose there. The crowd thinking there was an occasion for a penalty, but I don't think so. Roger Millwood now coming onto the ground, and it looks as though Ken Gill is going off.
Yes, it is Kenny Gill.
Roger Millwood recognised as one of the liveliest 5/8s in the game, and referee Keith Page doesn't quite understand that he's the replacement man. He is now. And John Gray going to kick the goal for Great Britain. The penalty awarded beyond the quarter line and almost straight in front. His only consideration will have to be the effect of this breeze on the ball.
I think this is a very wise decision, because if this is converted, it means that we are only 4 points behind them, which means a try and a goal can still clinch it in these closing stages of this test match.
John Gray will attempt to draw the points a little bit closer now. It's not a difficult kick. He's kicked a lot harder ones than this. And that's his form. Australia in front, but now by only 4 points, 22 points to 18. Brannigan dummy half, and now it's Coote. Again settling play down by taking Australia further upfield. Turner, Rodinicus, pick up, Beatson, straight through. Rodinicus, the player who gave Great Britain so much trouble in the first two tests, hasn't had it all his own way today though. O'Neill, up the blind side he goes. Brannigan, Stevens, being forced towards the touchline with one tackle to go. Now Fulton calling for it, moving up behind the ruck. There he is, straight into touch. About 5.5 minutes to go. The scrum just out from the Great Britain quarter line. Won by Australia. No, it wasn't.
So this scrum is going to be terribly important to John Gray, who's had a tremendously good game here this afternoon.
Rodinicus trying to get through, close to the scrum base. He'll have to play it there. McCarthy. He's a big man, but the weight of the defence is too much. A try now to Australia would seal the game. O'Neill, pick up, Fulton. Well tackled by Rose. Turner, pick up, called for it. There's Williamson. Coote saw the opportunity on the blind side. Lost the ball. Brannigan got it. But the knock-on again will have to be played.
Well, there's no doubt about it now that Australia are exerting awful lot of pressure on the Great Britain line. They've been aided by winning the last two scrums and keeping Britain pinned down in their own 10-metre area. Of course, we've got to get out of there if we're going to hope to clinch this game in the series.
So only about 2 minutes to go. Australia leading by those 4 points. Nash. Chisnell got it to Rose.
This is what Great Britain should have been doing earlier, throwing it wide. They could not got in the middle. They were getting trapped. They should throw it wide to these fellows that come on the burst.
Clausen playing it on the goal line, on the quarter line. Chisnell. Rose was left unmarked. Peska. Charlton from fullback. Almost intercepted by Fulton, but Dill has it. Pick up diving at him, missing him. Brannigan misses his man. Bevan well caught by that cover defence. Ron Coote was back there. A minute to go. Australia leading 22 points to 18. Peska. Last do-or-die effort from Great Britain as it goes to Millwood. The brilliant Millwood. One tackle to go. Chisnell, high into the air. Langlands. He's not going to give away the game in the series now. Brannigan. On halfway, Brannigan will play it for Australia. Langlands is dummy half. O'Neill, who's had such a good game. Turner running into dummy half. Going to keep it safe, no passes here. Rodonicus to play it. We should hear the full-time siren at any moment. Beatson holding onto the ball. Cronin's got it for Australia. One tackle for Australia to go. Pick-up calls. Putting it into touch. And the full-time siren should go before we see the result of this scrum. Full-time siren sounding. Scrum won by Great Britain. Millward. Play on. Cronin is caught, and that is the end of the game. And the series won by Australia, and the jubilant captain coach Graham Langlands going out on top at the end of such a triumphant career. Graham Langlands over 100 points in Test rugby league matches against Great Britain.
As we saw, Great Britain equalled the series with a win in the second test, and over 55,000 turned out at the SCG to see Australia win the third and deciding clash of the series. The score being 22 points to 18, and in so doing, Australia retained the Ashes.